The Samsung Galaxy Note series introduced two main things: big screens and S Pens. The Note 3 claims to also be the most powerful, best connected phone on the market. Is it? And more to the point, is it any good? When it comes to design, it can't stack up against the HTC One and the iPhone 5S, for example, because it just doesn't feel as premium. But this is the best Samsung has given us to date. The flat sides make it quite comfortable to hold in the hand despite it being a large device. On the front you've got that 5.7-inch fascia below which sits a physical home button, which many people actually quite like. Around the sides you've got a striated pattern, and while the high gloss doesn't feel or look too rich, it does make for a comfortable grip experience. On the back is molded plastic. Now, to look at, this actually looks better than the high gloss we've seen in the past, but we're not huge fans of these fake stitching patterns. We'd much prefer if it was real leather. Naturally, that's not going to happen on a phone like this, so we're going to have to just settle for better but not perfect. Going back to the display, and the Super AMOLED panel pops. Naturally, viewing angles are also really great for an AMOLED panel. Saturation's been tapered so it doesn't look radioactive. Samsung's all in all done a really good job with this one. Thanks to the Full HD resolution, pixel density is also great, so text looks nice and sharp. Inside the screen, it's Android 4.3 with a heavy coating of TouchWiz on top of it. TouchWiz, Samsung's user interface, very familiar to anyone coming from a Samsung Galaxy S3 or a Samsung Galaxy Note 2. It's all been reoriented to take full advantage of that Air Pen. In fact, as soon as you pull that pen out, you have an Air Command option that pops up. This is a little ring that gives you a series of things to do. And for example, you can take a quick note, you can jot a number down. If you, for example, jot a name and number down, it will actually give you the option to save it to your phone book. So quite smart, quite innovative stuff on there, which is cool. In the same breath though, it is very heavy, and when you have a lot of heaviness, you also have a degree of bugginess. There are a few glitches when loading up home screens, and opening up new ones can take a little bit longer than the quad cores and 3 GB would have you believe. TouchWiz has also been paired with a magazine-like stream. If we, for example, tap the home button or just swipe up, we can see this feed of social, personal, news, information that really elegantly channels through our display. It's all powered by Flipboard, and you've seen nothing but beautiful looking presentation from Flipboard. Having said that, it does stutter, it is a little bit slow, and it's just another area that we're really shocked to see lag despite that incredible power under the hood. It is worth noting that the Note 3 is loaded up with some applications to take real advantage of that S Pen. Sketchbook, for example, is perfect for any doodlers. Also, Photoshop Touch, if you've installed it, is going to give you pressure sensitivity and an ultimately incredible experience if you're into that. As far as the snapper goes, the 13-megapixel camera on board does an admirable job in good lighting, just like the Samsung Galaxy S4. In low lighting, it isn't too shabby either. It's paired with Samsung's digital image stabilization, also known as smart stabilization, and so a little bit of handshake will get compensated for. Images look very nice and punchy, maybe a tiny bit oversaturated, a little bit overprocessed. In low light, for example, there seems to be quite a smooth wash atop all your images, so it looks a little bit soft. Full HD video is also brilliant, with the Note 3's Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor shooting 1080p video at 60 frames per second. While it'll only shoot slow motion video at 720p, the 1080p 60 frames per second video can be exported if you're happy to throw it into Final Cut or Premiere Pro, and made very slow indeed. That Snapdragon processor will ensure no game out right now will give you any stutter. We were playing Wild Blood on this thing, Nova 3, Asphalt 8, and we can safely say it's one of the best gaming devices out there at the moment. The same goes for movie watching, thanks to the 16:9 aspect ratio, and ebook reading, thanks to the large display. It's easy enough to cover the loudspeaker up, unfortunately, especially when holding the device in landscape, though we're guessing most of you will be taking advantage of the 3.5mm headphone jack. With 32 GB of onboard memory, the Note 3 is one of the best devices out there to store your media as well. You've also got expandability up to 64 GB, so all in all, you should not have any issue with space. Samsung also touts this thing to be the best connected device out there with Cat4 LTE, 3G obviously, not to mention an infrared blaster as well as NFC. There's also a wireless charging back cover that you can jam on this thing to make it wireless charging compatible, so it really is very, very well connected. The battery's 3,200 milliamps, and even when connected by Bluetooth to the Samsung Galaxy Gear, we were still able to get a full day's use out of it, which is very impressive. All in all, the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 is one of the best devices across the board out there, if not the best on paper. We have to say, thanks to the build, it feels like it's lacking a little bit of heart that you've got with the HTC One and even the LG G2. But it's still a safe bet for any Samsung fans out there or anyone who just wants an absolute beast in their pocket at all times.